Part 1: The Illuminati's Plan for World War III. Warning: this interview is long. A witness with a military background and a position of influence within the City of London has come forward and offered Bill Ryan of Project Camelot a view into Illuminati plans for World War III. Apparently the Illuminati plan to use nuclear and biological weapons to cement their control of the world and reduce the world's population to a manageable size. The Earth's spiritual hierarchy and the Galactic Federation have assured us that no nuclear war or any scenario close to it will be allowed to happen. See 1 for references. However, we have seen, from the earthquake in Haiti and tsunami in South Asia, to how much destruction the Illuminati are capable of wreaking on the planet and how, left to their own devices, they would not hesitate to desolate it to ensure control. It is necessary for us to be aware of the Illuminati's plans and not to cooperate with them, though, as the witness states, not to engage in violent resistance either. I began my career as a historian with a paper on concepts of Anglo-Saxondom in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The witness postulates that it is a vision of an Anglo-Saxon mission that motivates the present cabal. However, in my view, racial theories are purely self-serving. An Anglo-Saxon mission allows for British, American cooperation. But, if it worked better to craft a Teutonic or an Aryan vision, the cabal, I believe, would do so. Towards the end, the witness shares his knowledge of the intervention of benevolent acts. There are many papers on this site and on its companion, 3, that discuss the 2012 scenario which the SHGF are propelling us towards, with the help of their Earth allies. There is no reason to become afraid based on what you read here. But there is good reason to become informed. B refers to Bill Ryan of Project Camelot and W refers to the anonymous City of London witness. Namaste, Steve. Bill Ryan. B. I want to thank you for coming forward with what was immediately clear to me, once I'd read your written debrief, that you have some highly significant information that needs to be shared. And it's our job at Project Camelot to assist you in reaching people who are aware enough to understand what you're saying, why it's important, and to put it in perspective with other information that they may have. And to introduce all of this, I wonder if you could say what it is that you're prepared to say on record about your background, about your history, just in general, what you think is okay to share about how it is that you've actually been positioned to get a hold of the information that you're going to be reporting. Witness, W. Okay. Well, the information I've shared with you already, I feel, it's not earth-shattering. I feel it's something that a lot of people will already have grasped with the amount of information that is getting put out on the internet already. If there's any uniqueness within the information that I'm providing to you, that I feel should be shared, is that it's first-hand information and it's given to you freely for those who wish to use it and to inform themselves. I think that that's my initial position on this. For my part, I've spent a long time in the military and then held a senior position in the City of London, and within both institutions I became very intimate with events that were being manufactured secretly, covertly, on behalf of a group of people. I can't say it's on behalf of a nation or a community because it's certainly none of that, but it's certainly something is to do with a group of people whose interests lie within themselves and what they're doing to coerce a series of events to happen. Looking back with hindsight now, I can see quite clearly they're being most successful in doing what they're doing. And I feel, because of what I know, that time is running out for these people. So the timeline that I'm going to describe is somehow, and that's an apt title, really, because the timeline starts somewhere and it ends somewhere and these people are very well aware of it. We're coming up to a critical time now, which everybody's discussing at the moment. I'm very well aware of that. But the information I've brought may put some flesh on the bones for other people to consider themselves. And as for the veracity of it, I can only tell you that what I'm going to tell you is truthful, albeit lots of people may think it's a perception. I'm quite happy with that, too. But it's been my experience, and it's that experience that I'm going to share. B. Right. Now, if you could just add a little bit of detail about the group that you referred to. Does this group have any kind of name that they're calling themselves? Is this a group that other people reading this would recognize when cross-referencing information? W. I've had difficulty myself in trying to describe these people. I've called them like a band of brothers. I've also called them an overgovernment. There's also other names I could call them, some of them derogatory, and that would be deserved. Laughs, but I think the best way, the most sensible way to describe these people so that people can understand what they're like, is they're like an overgovernment, because that's what they're doing. B. Are you talking about British people here, or international people? W. The meeting that I will refer to later, it was all British, and some of them are very well-known characters who people in the United Kingdom will recognise immediately. Those who are international who might read this might have to do a bit of research on them. But they are national figures, some of them. B. Are they political figures? Or are they figures in the noble classes, so to speak? W. Yes, there is a bit of aristocracy there, and some of them come from quite aristocratic backgrounds. There's one who I identified at that meeting who is a senior politician. 2 others were senior figures from the police, and one from the military. Both are known nationally and both are key figures in advising the present government at this present time. B. And inasmuch as there's a political component to this, does this political component go across both parties? W. No. This senior political component belongs to the right-wing party in Britain, the Conservative Party. B. Okay. For the benefit of American readers, that would be the equivalent of the Republicans. W. Yes. B. All right. So, it's an insider group that functions in Britain, as many American readers of this transcript would recognize by analogy. It's like the American secret government. You're talking about politicians behind the scenes who are still very influential, links with the police, links with the military. Are there also American military links in there? W. Yes. B. Okay. W. One significant military figure, now retired, but active in advising government. B. Okay. Are you aware of or did you hear any discussion of any participation by church authorities or the Vatican or any of the religions of the world? Was this mentioned as part of their strategic planning for all of this? W. No. Not at all, but I know the Church of England, especially, is complicit in everything that's going on, totally complicit. B. Okay. And you know this because of the close relationship between senior figures in the Church of England and the group that you met with in the City of London? W. Absolutely. You don't need a forensic expert to find that one out. That's quite open. B. Okay. Is this all fundamentally Masonic? W. Absolutely. There's no question about that. Everybody is vetted through that process, through the Masonic process, and then they get to meet one another. That's something that people need to understand. There are levels in Masonry. You know, most Masons don't really know anything at all, and they're out there doing good work for the most part, and they get the benefit of a kind of club, as it were. But that goes through various levels. Some people call it by degrees or whatever. But it's a who's who. That is, who can be trusted, who can be brought together, who's holding power, who's likely to develop more power. And these people attract one another and they get together because they all have a single cause. But it's not exactly like a Masonic cause, you know. It's something that can be likened to it, but not the same as it. B. Could you explain that a little more clearly? W. Well, I think the best way to explain this is, Masonry, is to my knowledge, is just a vehicle for these people. It allows them to come together quietly, in secret, behind closed doors, get to know one another, feel safe and secure knowing confidently that what's said in these meetings go no further than those meetings. So it's got that Masonic element to it, but this goes to an entirely different level altogether. Now, the meeting that I'm talking about, I don't even consider these people to be a significant level significant enough for me at the time, but they were discussing things that were already agreed upon and planned and dictated. They were really getting together to share information, to find out how well it was going and what was needed to keep it on track. B. So things had already been decided at an even higher level than this. Is that what you're saying?